Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to recreate the portal effect from my Rampage Rally submission. First of all, we are going to prepare the simulation in Houdini, and then we will take this simulation to Blender and render it. So let's get started. Let's create a brand new geo container and let's name it like something like Portal FX. Let's go inside and let's create the circle. Let's change the archetype for open arc. Let's change uniform scale for something around 3, because my original submission file, it was the value of 3, so let's stick to this value, and let's subdivide this mesh a bit and bring it to stick to x-axis here. Okay, so now let's create an attribute VOB. Because I want to, first of all, distort this uniform shape a bit, so we will try to add some noise to the position. Let's rename it for P noise. And let's go inside. Let's plug P to P input here. And let's add an anti-aliasing flow noise. We want to add it to our original position, so let's create add node, plug it into input here, and let's plug our P attribute to pose in our AA flow nodes. Let's change it here 1D noise for 3D noise, because position is a vector, so we need 3 values here. And I think our geometry needs some more subdivisions. So let's go up and let's create subdivide node. And let's go with a value of 3. I think it will be good. What else I would like to do is to add a little animation to this shape, because right now, as you see, it's just static object. And to add this subtle movement to our geometry, let's use a time component. So the time will drive the movement of our position. So let's add a vector to vector 4 node, and then plug the time as a 4th component, and then plug it to our noise. As you see, this node automatically detected this 4D input, but also change for the initial value here, so it 1D noise, we want to 3D noise instead. And as you see, now it's animated. However, I think it's way too crazy, so let's change the 4th component here under the 4D frequency. And let's change for something like maybe 0.01. And as you see, we have a really nice subtle movement on our geometry. Okay, so let's move forward to the next step, and let's create another attribute VOB. And this time we want to control our CD noise, because I want to emit particles in our simulation from the CD attribute. So to do this, let's also create anti-aliasing flow noise. And this time I want to plug this noise to our CD. And as you see, we're already getting some pattern of our geometry. However, we want to adjust it a bit. This time we want to use 1D noise, because if I will choose 3D noise, we will get a full range of colors, and we won't use it in any way. So let's stick to this 1D noise, and let's adjust our frequency. However, before this, I would also like to add the animation. So let's create vector to vector 4, and let's plug also the time to this. Okay, and let's adjust for the frequency. And as you see, we are getting the smaller pattern of our geometry. However, we have to be careful, because if I play the animation right now, as you see, this pattern moves super fast right now. So we want to change this value here for the time for something like 0.5. Let's play the animation now. And now, as you see, we got very subtle movement of our pattern. So I think it's a good start to create the particle simulation. So let's move up, and let's create a pop network, and let's go inside. First of all, let's take a look. And as you see, we are getting already some particles. However, the result is not super satisfying right now. Let's adjust it. And first of all, let's disable this blue guide. And I would like to change emission attribute to color CD. And now let's play the animation. And as you see, now the particles are being emitted only from the white parts of our geometry. Okay, so let's move on. Maybe let's change this pop color, because it's not very visible right now. So let's stick to this color. And now to drive our particle movements, we have to have some kind of force here. So let's add a pop force node here. And I would like to increase amplitude force value of 3. It was my sweet spot in my case. So let's take a look. As you see, we are already getting some interesting result. However, it's way too chaotic to my taste. So let's add another node, which is pop drag. And I think air resistance value of 20 worked in my case. And let's take a look for the result of this change. And now you see we are getting really nice result. It's a bit too fluffy still to my taste, but let's have a look what we can do with this. For sure, I want to change life expectancy for value of 2. And that means that particles will live shorter. And now I also want to change the number of particles, and in my case the value of 3 and 5 zeros was the value which worked for me. And now we are getting really nice result. However, the one last thing I would like to change in this simulation is those generic lines, which are not really interesting looking. So to change it to a more chaotic result, we have to change this positive to negative option here under the birth time. And now if you play the simulation, you see we don't get those lines anymore. So this is our result. Okay, so in my original file, I also, if we take a look for this animation, you can see that this portal starts to appear here. And then in this moment, we have a full effect, full visibility of the portal. So we also want to recreate this effect. We have to create a curve node. And let's take a look for it. It works in such a way that depending on the value entered, it cuts off a certain part of the geometry. So let's use this second U here. And in the first frame, I would like to have no effect of the portal. So let's add a keyframe. Let's press Alt and left mouse button. And under, let's say, frame 70, I want to have a full visibility of the portal. So let's add a keyframe. And we have this showing up effect. Okay, so our portal will now with the simulation look like this. And I think it's pretty satisfying result. Before caching the file, we would like to also delete some attributes, because as we see, we have a lot of unnecessary attributes, and since we are going to render it in Blender, we will have to make some preparation in Blender, and we don't need Houdini attributes there. So let's delete all attributes. And this way our cache file will be less heavy. So now we are ready to cache the file. I think we are going to cache only 150 frames, so we don't need that many. So let's press Ctrl Shift and left mouse button here and this in this place, and let's change this value for 150. I won't change the file location. It will save our simulation in my original project folder, but you can free to use your own location, and I will save it to disk and will go back to you when the cache is done. Okay, so now our file is cached. As you see, we got some pretty nice results. After frame 150, our simulation disappears because we only cached 150 frames. And now we are ready to export this simulation to Blender. So let's go and bring raw Alembic output node. We want to render a frame range instead of a current frame. So again, let's change this to 150. You can also navigate to your output folder, and when you will be naming your file, don't forget to add .abc file extension, because Houdini doesn't add it to this extension as default, so it's pretty important. And we are ready to save it to disk. Okay, and now when it's cached, let's go to Blender and let's see how we can render those particles. Okay, so now we are in Blender. Let's bring our simulation here. Okay, and let's check if it works. And as you see, we are getting a pretty decent result. Let's take a look how we can render it now. So let's split this view. I would like to add environment texture. So let's go to Word, bring environment texture, plug it to color. Okay, so let's also change to for cycles render, GPU compute device. And now let's also make a transparent view. And as you see, our particles right now are super big. So let's take a look how we can change it. Let's disable the render view and let's go to GeoNodes. Select our portal and press new. And we have to bring a node set point radius. As you see, particles got even bigger, however, we can easily change it. And in my case, the value of 0.0009, I think it worked for me. And let's take a look. As you see, we are getting really nice result right now. So let's set the material for this. And let's maybe split this view. Let's go to shader editor, object, and let's create new material. My original portal was red, and let's increase also emission strength. Okay, and now we don't see any result. We have to because we have to assign this material to the portal in a GeoNodes tab. Okay, and let's also go to the compositor, use nodes, and I want to change viewport shading under compositor for always. And now I would like to bring a glare filter. As you see, we're getting some result, but we want to change it for a fog glow. And maybe change the threshold here value for something around 2. So as you see, actually our portal is ready. Now let's render it and let's see the final result. Okay, so this is our final effect. I couldn't resist adding a few environmental effects like grass and fog. I also rotated the portal by 90 degrees. As you can see, with just a few nodes in Houdini and a bit of time in Blender, we can achieve some really interesting results. If you would like me to make a video on another topic related to my Rampage Rally submission, let me know in the comments. For now, thanks for watching and see you next time.